Matthew, and this is Abel here. And today is our free pour episode. So for every free pour so far, we have been doing DC talk, and that's what we are continuing to do today. And the film that we're covering, the DCEU film that we're covering today is Aquaman. So we're almost done with this, and this is certainly my least favorite of any DC film. Well, let me say DCEU film. You know, it's might not be as bad as Catwoman. You know.
Oh, but, damn! I forgot that existed.
And we're including all DC films, but you know. Anyways, so we're talking about Aquaman. This film came out December 2018. Was directed by James Wan. James Wan directed other things, including Furious 7, The Conjuring films. I know he directed Saw, right?
Yeah.
Original Saw, Insidious. So he's mainly a horror director. So I'm not really sure what inspired them to choose him. I mean, he did Furious 7, so maybe that was a big thing why they chose him to do Aquaman. But
he brought a lot of money.
Yeah, his movies have made a good amount of money. And definitely the vibe from Furious 7, he did bring that over into Aquaman, but not in a good way. It was very bro type movie, very, I guess you would say, action heavy. But the thing about the Furious 7 film is you had all of these other movies before it making you invested in these characters and laying the tone for this franchise. With Aquaman, it's essentially his first film. I mean, I know you had him in Justice League and that little small scene in Batman versus Superman, but this is essentially his first film, and it could have been something really special. It should have been something really special because Aquaman, like if you look at the comics, there was a lot of potential here to create something really cool, tell really like important messages with the ocean and the environment and all this. And you know, it's essentially he has this underwater kingdom, you know, like these worlds under the ocean. There's so much to explore, so much they could have done. And instead, like I said, they go to this bro vibe and make it something that felt like, I want to say like they took it with the care they did with most of the early 2000s superhero films, and not the good ones like Spider-Man, but like the bad ones, like Ghost Rider or something, like just bad. But they also try to bring in like this 80s, early 90s action movie type dialogue and feel. Once again, not in a good way, and once again, it didn't fit with the universe you were telling the story in, right? It's not like Aquaman was a standalone thing. It was part of the DCEU. And this didn't feel like a continuation of something from Batman versus Superman, in my opinion.
All right, for me, this was like a movie like all right, let's say I'm the baby brother. You're the big brother that's in a fraternity, right? I have my action figures here. I want to make a movie. We should experience dialogue, but I have you. That's how it felt watching this movie. Like certain dialogue worked when he was just like, "Oh, we could just pee on it." That worked. But I think that really killed it to the T was just like that. They were trying to be all serious and Shakespearean with their dialogue. Remember when he was just like, "I'm Black Manta,"
you know,
and there was like at least like something that could at least make it funny. Because like, remember in Guardians of the Galaxy, he was just like, like the guy was just like, "Who are you?" He was just like, "I'm Star-Lord." Another guy was just like, "Who?"
I know you brought that up several times to me. You really wanted that to happen in the movie.
Not that I wanted it, but it was just kind of.
I get what you're saying. If they had made a joke out of that, it would have been better. It certainly would have. Like, now I'll go to the screenplay stuff because I was talking more about directing before. With the screenplay, what a truly awful screenplay! Like the worst of the DCEU. You know, in my opinion, Aquaman is the worst modern day comic book movie made.
Yeah,
I think it is, and there are other films that you could point and say that I could see your argument, but like Bloodshot came out recently, and it's not a good film. I enjoyed it more than I did Aquaman, but there's different things to look at because expectations. You expect more with Aquaman than you do with Bloodshot, right? Because it's Aquaman and it's a part of a larger universe, and it's Warner Brothers. This screenplay should have never been made. Like, it was so bad that I don't know who read it and thought, this is good, we should make this movie. Right? Like, let me look at this too. So
those paychecks, they were like, oh shit, all right, let's do it.
3 different guys worked on the story. Not the whole they didn't write the screenplay, they just worked on the story of this film. One was James Wan, one was Jeff Johns, who has his hands in a lot of DC stuff, including
They need to get him out. Like, he needs to stay in comics and just get him out of scripts.
I agree at this point. And they also had Will Beall, I think how you pronounce his last name, Beall. So all 3 of them created the story to Aquaman. Then we had Will, and he came back to write the screenplay in itself, along with David Leslie Jordan McGoldrick. Both of these people wrote the screenplay. So 2 people wrote the screenplay for this, and out of those 2, out of Jeff Johns, I'm sure taking a look at the finished screenplay, and James Wan, as well as the many people above it, but them and producing and all this, none of you figured out that this was bad. I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, the dialogue was so cringeworthy.
And a quick thing to Jeff Johns is just kind of like, the dialogue from the movie could have worked in a comic because it's a comic. But when you have actors or professionals or whatnot actually saying those lines, it just sounds like, oh, we got to change that.
And let me I want to point this out too real quick, because this, and I know I've mentioned this before, I think in some other videos, but I'm not sure which ones. It really bothers me. I believe in second chances in Hollywood. I don't think just because you have one flop or you do one bad thing that you shouldn't get hired again. But I do think that if you write something that is really bad, well, first of all, it like I've said before, when you have so many people that should be looking at the screenplay, really you should never have something like Aquaman get made. But the Will Beall guy, before he wrote Aquaman, going back to 2013, this dude wrote Gangster Squad, another WB film. Gangster Squad was a movie I was really excited for. I don't know have you seen it?
Oh.
It's got a really good cast. Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Josh Brolin, Sean Penn. This movie sucked. The movie sucked, and it was written by him. And one of the main things that made this movie bad was the screenplay. Now, does this mean he shouldn't have work again? No. I'm fine with him writing more movies because it wasn't like a career ender to me. But do I look at him and say, maybe we should hire him to write Aquaman? Probably not. I would probably have him write some other, smaller independent type films, see what he can do, and then maybe give him another shot at a comic book property. But he only wrote he actually created a show in between that, the Training Day show that I don't know who watched, but yeah, it came out.
What's the name?
Training Day?
They actually made that?
Yeah, they made a show. It was with Bill Paxton, who is no longer with us, but yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's weird to me, like, when that happens. And let's look at the other guy here, David. See what he wrote. Before Aquaman, he wrote The Conjuring 2, which I haven't seen. Orphan, Red Riding Hood, and Wrath of the Titans, which...
Oh, how the hell? Oh.
I don't really know. I don't look at that filmography and say, yeah, I want to hire him either.
Boo-boo, what is you doing?
There's so many other people you could have chose
to do this. The only thing that's going to help him out right now is the amount of money that movie made.
And it did make a lot of money. And a lot of people liked it. And I will never understand why. I can't understand it, but
I paid money for it, so there goes that kind of adds on to it.
I didn't. So that's thankfully, because I mean I knew I wasn't going to spend money on it because the trailers, everything looked horrible, and I remember
Man.
you were telling me at the time beforehand, you were like, the graphics look good, the visual effects look good, all of that, and it's not the worst visual effects at all.
I'm not saying like it's better than fucking like Avengers. Hell no, I'm not
But
gonna go through. But
I didn't think anything. I wasn't blown away by the visual effects in this
I
film at
mean,
all.
for the budget that we're working with, it was actually pretty good. So I think they're working like 100 something, like I think 160 on a budget, which is actually kind of limited when you're doing a movie like that. I may be wrong here. And then like we have Avengers that probably may like have a billion.
Can you see the shark right now?
That's not like that, but it looks good for like a 2007 Samsung Galaxy commercial.
Yeah, yeah, for that.
No, like I do appreciate like from the graphic, like from developing Atlantis, because like that had to be a bitch just creating that. So I do have appreciation for them, like world building from like graphic design. So like I have appreciation for that because like I took a class and god damn that shit is fucking hard.
No,
So I do
I'm
have appreciation
like
for that.
the design of everything. Um, yeah, I have respect for that. For the people that actually created the design for Atlantis and all of that, I have respect for. Just the ultimate, payoff. What I think visuals could have been better. I also,
It did have some
and with
really
Ocean,
cool underrated shots though.
I wasn't blown away by James Wan, his directing either.
The
But
only shot like in particular I really like when they were like diving to like that's pretty much it. When they were trying to
uh,
escape from the boat, that's the only shot that I like. I can say like shit. That's actually really good.
my favorite part of the film, and that's saying a lot because I didn't like this movie at all. But my favorite part of the film was the opening, actually, with Nicole Kidman when she beats up those when they come to get her to take her back at the beginning, and they're destroying the house and the fight scene. That was filmed really well. It was a cool fight scene that had a lot of good action, and it was cool to see Nicole Kidman beat those people up. That was my favorite part of the movie. And then obviously she comes back later in the film and looks like John Travolta in Battlefield Earth with her hair going on. Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, I'm like looking at pictures right now of the film and like looking at different costumes. I really wasn't a huge fan of a lot of the costume design either. And
I did not like Ocean Master's costume.
part of me respects that they were trying to stay like bring comic book vibe, like make it comic book vibe, but also, you know, you can't always do that. You have to adapt and make it look believable. Look at Spider-Man. Look at well, not Electro because yeah, they should have stuck with the original. But look at I'm trying to think of who else. I don't know. They've adapted to make stuff more modern, right? And not exactly bring straight from the comic because it might look ridiculous. Ocean Master looked ridiculous.
Like Harry, like was it like Norman Osborn's like hair with them waves, his do rag. Those waves were crisp.
You got Amber Heard in here wearing a wig or something. Like her hair looks really strange.
I think she actually dyed it though.
Really, it looks bad. And you have the guy here who plays Black Manta, who I think does. It's hard for me to say because I watched. I haven't got enough from him to determine whether he's a good actor or not because I haven't seen Candyman yet. I'm excited for it. I've seen Us, but he only had a small role in that. And I'm trying to look. Let me look at his filmography. I haven't seen Watchmen.
Yeah, that's what I tell you that.
So I'm not. Apparently, he was in The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, he was like the brother to Zendaya.
I don't know. It's been a while, but wow, Black Manta was awful, like Razzie level. Like it was bad. But I don't know.
I'm not putting the blame on him. I'm putting more of the blame on the script. This man was just he has every right to be mad, but he was just
At this
way.
point, yes. When the movie came out, I was saying this guy deserves a Razzie. Like, he's an awful actor. But now, like, the more I've thought about it, it's like I don't think it was him. I think it was the screenplay and the directing. Like, it's like a a Hayden Christensen thing from Attack of the Clones, which if you don't have a director directing you, you can't.
I mean, because in case with Hayden Christensen, if you ever seen like like if you're ever bored and you go to like like let me check the behind the scenes kind of stuff. George Lucas was on him like a football coach. He was just like, instead of this, I want you to do that. Okay.
But was it? Yeah, I don't know.
Like, and he was just like, Anakin is trying to convey this. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, the cast, you got Jason Momoa as Aquaman to start things off, who I understand what they were going for. It didn't work for me. I don't think Jason Momoa is a great actor in general either. I wouldn't have chosen him to be Aquaman.
He's profitable.
Now, I guess, but I think it depends on the property you put him in.
I mean, like right now, if I was going like make Aquaman, I'd be like, okay, this man will make me money. I know mothers will go out the way to see this man. So when mothers want to come, that means they will bring the kids, so that would be more money.
You also got Amber Heard in here, who I haven't. She's not the worst actress, but not the best either. Willem Dafoe's in here. I don't know why he's wasting his time. Patrick Wilson is in this as King Orm, or Ocean Master. Also, like, let's go back to the script one more time.
They gave nothing to that man. That man had nothing to work with.
Both him and Black Manta have to tell the audience who they are. Like, I think maybe Black Manta or Ocean Master, one of them did it like twice in the movie, but they both had to like look into the camera pretty much and say, "I'm Ocean Master. I'm Black Manta." Like, ridiculous. But yeah, I agree. He didn't have anything to work with, and essentially, I felt like this film was trying to rip off Black Panther and Thor. Like, they were trying to take both of those.
Look, it would have been no problem if they were successful at it.
Exactly.
On it. But in this case, they did it, and they failed. I want to say they felt hard. They did not. But they fell to a point you just kind of look at it and it's just like, look, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed in you.
You got Nicole Kidman in here, who I think was the best part of the film.
I think she just did it for the paycheck.
Probably, but still, best part of the film. Dolph Lundgren in here, trying to make a resurgence. I don't know how to pronounce the guy who plays Black Manta's name. Do you know how to pronounce it?
No, the guy from Candyman.
Abdul Mateen II?
Abdul Akeem?
Yeah. But he plays Black Manta. Tamira Morrison plays Tom Curry, Aquaman's dad, Jango Fett. Yeah, so that's... And then you also got Randall Park in there, who was also an Ant-Man and the Wasp. I guess he's trying to get into both. You also have the guy who directed Invisible Man and that other film, Upgrade. Leigh Whannell. You got him in there. It's Cargo Pilot. Julie Andrews in here too. Got some really odd ones. Like, how did that happen? Yeah, so honestly, for the most part, you got a couple really solid actors like Willem Dafoe, Nicole Kidman, but the other people, not really impressed by. Anyways, but like you said, if it was a good movie, it wouldn't matter.
I actually like Patrick Wilson, but I was just kind of like, oh, God damn it.
I'm not saying he's bad, he's serviceable. but I've never seen anything that like blew me away that he did.
I feel like again, like right director, right person, or either the right script. I believe you can
That's
see him
true.
go to his potential. But this, god damn, man. I mean, I appreciate his dedication to the role, like from like physically and all that. It's like I don't think it's like obviously you gotta you gotta sell the fucking movie.
Um, trying to think of like what else to even talk. It's just so I just dislike this movie so much, and it's visually is so unappealing to me too. Um, we know that they are making a sequel. It has been greenlit, and they're also the sequel will happen. The spinoff, I don't know if that'll happen or not, but they're supposed to make a spinoff called The Trench about that whole
I
part of the
mean,
film.
it's gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen.
Because they've announced so many movies that I don't know.
I'm still waiting for the next Justice League, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it was supposed to 2019. It was supposed to come out in 2019 originally.
Yeah, man. Like all it's like all these delays and stuff.
That Flash movie was supposed to come out in 2018, March 2018. So still waiting on it too.
And with the Green Lantern and Tom Cruise is not getting any younger.
Yeah, it's not even gonna happen. But yeah. The screenplay was bad, the directing was bad, the acting was bad, which that could be, like we said, from the directing and the writing. Just not a visually appealing film to me. A lot of the lines were just cringeworthy. There were multiple times in the theater where I was just like would literally sigh out loud and just I could not stay still in my seat. It was looking up at the ceiling. Multiple times where I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, oh my god, and
like Dan, like oh,
like other people in the theater were enjoying it, and I did not even care about an after credit scene, which I guess there was an after credit scene if I'm remembering it correctly, or was that the end of the film?
End of the film
With Black Manta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what did you think about that Pitbull song?
Oh yeah, forgot about that. I'm glad you pointed that out.
When that came in, dude, I looked him up. I was just like, I started laughing so hard.
It was painful, and it was only for like 15 seconds.
I look-y liked the song though, but it was
Okay. And then also, yeah. So they set Black Manta up at the end in the end scene to be the villain in the sequel, I guess. This dude got his ass kicked twice in this movie by Aquaman. Are we supposed to be excited for another fight?
I don't know, man. He has those weapons and that pretty weird helmet, so.
He had that in the second fight. He still lost.
Hey, maybe third time's a charm. Third time's a charm.
And I think they could have had Black Manta in this film, and just had his origin in this film, and like the first stuff on the submarine. Had that be somewhere in this movie, maybe had both him and his dad be working for Ocean Master.
They just had a lot of shit cramped up into one movie.
And like, then you could have set him up for the sequel, but instead you like rushed it. Yeah, you rushed it, and you put too much in this movie. And now like, you're not going to be intimidated by him in the future because his character sucked in the first movie. Ocean Master, he butched. It sucked.
Just real quick, this movie should have been like an Indiana Jones kind of film. Like, is it about him trying to get like this? Let me finish. Instead of like Ocean Master trying to get all the 7 seas together, it should have been like possibly like Aquaman, Ocean Master, and like Black Manta just trying to get the Trident to get control of the seas.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they should have waited for like the 7 seas, like either like in the second one or the third one.
So I pitch you this. What if you do Indiana Jones meets Thor?
Yeah, like Ragnarok kind of.
Not even Ragnarok. I would say the first Thor.
It's just
The
the thing
first
is,
Thor meets Indiana Jones because
they want,
of laying the groundwork for Atlantis and the people within Atlantis. That's where I would like give you the Thor vibe. Now, like I said, I think they kind of tried to rip off Black Panther in the first Thor, but not in the good parts.
like there's nothing wrong with that if you can make it your own, but they fucked it up.
Right.
And also, it's just like one thing is like they're so. I think they have post traumatic stress from like all like the jokes people have made about Aquaman in the past. I think they should embrace that and be like let's try and make this like obviously still keep it serious and then, like in the action, but like let's do something what they did in Ragnarok, like have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just like give like little like subtleties, like or like make fun of this and make fun of that.
Well,
like some of the couple things I said and all.
I like that point. I would like that movie much better than what we got still. But the only pushback I would give a little bit for that reason, for Ragnarok, is Ragnarok wasn't the first Thor movie. They didn't come out of the gate with Ragnarok. Maybe they should have before instead of Dark World, but they didn't come out of the gate with Ragnarok. They came out with the first Thor movie, which gradually went into that version of Thor. I don't think you could have. I don't think you could have made the first Thor movie, with the Ragnarok's vibe and comedy and all that. But maybe you could have. I don't know.
This is like, I don't know. He was just like, no, call me Ocean Master. Like you could have added something like either something with dialogue or just like physical comedy, like with the eyes just going like this, like.
Well, yeah. So first of all, you never should have had both the villains say who they were. At all. I don't think you should have had Black Manta at any point in the movie say, I am Black Manta. Because it was stupid. Whatever. Shouldn't have happened. You should have saved that for someone else calling him, like, it's the Black Manta. Or something like that. Like, scared of him. And maybe the sequel. The Ocean Master, I like that idea. You should have went with that. With him saying that I am Ocean Master. And then Aquaman making a joke or something about it. Being like, what? Or, whatever he would say to him. If you're trying to make Aquaman funny. But yeah, I don't know. I would have chosen a different director in general too. Do you have any ideas of what director you would have chosen?
That's actually what I was thinking. Seriously, I kind of thought James Mangold for a moment.
I would have went after Alfonso Cuarón.
You probably won't be down for one or two.
That's all you need him for.
Just at least.
I mean, if you wanted to do more, you give him more. But yeah, bring him in, let him set the tone of Aquaman. Look what he did with Harry Potter. I would have really liked to see what he would have done with Aquaman. That would have been interesting to me, and I think it visually would have been very appealing.
So I'm trying to think of a director as like comedy and like drama. Like, I'm not gonna say Taika Waititi. That's like just an escape. Shit. Tarantino, nah.
You're shaking your leg.
What Tarantino? You could have like a 10-minute intro.
No, I wouldn't have. Try, because you want to go back to when the movie came out. So you were looking at people back then that could have made this movie.
Maybe Steven Spielberg, but I don't know if I don't know. Maybe. doubt it, but 50-50 could work. Shit. Fucking hell. I was supposed to say JJ, but no.
I don't know.
No.
I feel like there's a lot of people that could have done it, but I wouldn't have went after somebody I would have went after somebody who had a good filmography or a potential to do something really good. I mean, James Wan has good films that he's made. I'm not saying he doesn't. I even like Furious 7. But I just, looking at that filmography, I wouldn't have chose him to do Aquaman. And I know that's how like the studio system works a lot of times, where they have directors that made other films for them. Because you can look at Wan's other films, especially in The Conjuring and stuff, and that's why WB picked him to do Aquaman. But I would have chosen somewhere else. I know they tried to get Peter Jackson to do Aquaman for a while, and he kept turning them down.
He was like, "Nah, fam. Have you read that script?"
Well, I mean, that's another thing. Is like, I actually think Peter Jackson could have made a better Aquaman. I think he would have been a good fit. I know that's like somebody that's made a lot of films for WB, and I haven't seen the Hobbit movies. Don't know. I know a lot of people have complaints about those. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, but look what he did with Lord of the Rings. He could have brought that to Aquaman. Imagine if you had an Aquaman that was built like the world and everything like Lord of the Rings, or a Game of Thrones style vibe of Aquaman. That's another thing. Maybe you could have went to like Game of Thrones and looked at some of the people that were involved in that show. I'm not talking about just the creators, but people who've came in and done episodes. Michelle McLaren.
There.
What's that?
Oh, fuck! I was about to say, what about that? One of the directors from The Mandalorian, the one that directed the pretty good episodes.
Deborah Chow.
Yeah.
She would have made it. I'm assuming a killer Aquaman, but at that time she had only made television. She has only made television, and I don't think. I don't think WB would have chose her. But if you're just saying who we would have liked to see, yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, if saying we were making an Aquaman movie right now, I think I'll have her right there.
Yeah.
I think Mickey Mouse would be like, not on my watch.
I'm hoping that since she's done such an incredible job with her episodes of The Mandalorian, and she's going to be doing the Obi-Wan show, if it ever happens, I hope that she gets some large films headed her way too. Maybe a possible MCU film.
I mean, not just MCU, but kind of want her to do like, well, let me see what you can do when it's on your own.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that too. But
like, here's a piece of lighter. Go do your thing. Papa Mickey's not gonna help you out this time. I'm trying to think. So, like, for some reason, I was about to say you can probably have Ben Stiller as a writer, just because like I like what he did with Tropic Thunder.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. You talking about Aquaman?
Yeah, just like how he I'm not saying like the jokes and stuff, but I'm saying like how he poked like fun at the Hollywood industry. And, like, imagine what he can do with the with the Aquaman stuff, but still adapt to the times.
But I didn't want that much comedy. That was part of my problem too. Is I didn't need that much comedy in the movie. Certain parts, if you brought in somebody like Ben Stiller, I feel like you would be getting more like a Taika, not really comparing their talents, but not that Ben Stiller's bad, but I would make Aquaman more serious than say having somebody like Ben Stiller writing it, at least from the films that I've seen so far from him. But I don't know. I don't know who I would pick to actually write the screenplay. I haven't really thought about that, but I don't know.
I just don't get fucking comic book writers. That's for sure.
No, I think the thing with that too is when you have comic book writers, I think it's good to bring them in and have
I mean,
them maybe
it helps with the lore, but not with the.
right. Well, so for in this film in particular, Jeff Johns was credited story by. I don't really have that much of a problem with that. But I don't think he should be writing the screenplay, but that's me saying that just by the idea of a comic book writer coming in and helping craft the story from a comic. But let's look at his other stuff real quick. So he's very hands-on with these DC shows, it seems like. The Flash, Titans, Arrow. But I'm trying, and like a lot of animated films. But I thought, let me see real quick. Did he not have something to do with that Green Lantern movie?
Yeah.
He was a co-producer on Green Lantern, the first one.
Yep, he had some stuff just on that.
He didn't have anything to do with the screenplay though, but he was a producer. So I don't know.
You were ready to eat him alive.
I was about to jump into that because I know that for a while they were talking about him doing like a Green Lantern movie, which I don't think that's going to happen. But I think he also did he not? He was a producer on Wonder Woman. So he actually, let's go to this here. He actually not only did the story, but he co-wrote the screenplay with Patty Jenkins and Dave Callahan for Wonder Woman 1984, and created the story with Patty Jenkins. So Wonder Woman 1984, his involvement in that is really going to show me his ability with cinema. Because if that movie comes out and I'm like, this screenplay was not very good, the story sucked,
Good.
I don't want to see any more of him do anything. But if it comes out and is good, then you got him and Patty Jenkins. You're like, that's good, you know. Like maybe we should have him involved a little bit more with some stories. I don't know, but either way, his involvement didn't help Aquaman any.
It takes the right partner, man. It takes the right partner.
But I don't have any more to say about this movie unless you do.
Me neither. I'm good.
Okay. We do have one more episode of DC Talk coming your way at some point, and that'll be Shazam. Actually, Shazam, and we might do Birds of Prey as well, because I know I've done a review about Birds of Prey, but I know you haven't yet. So, and it's technically part of the DCU, so we'll probably do both of those at some point in the future. So you guys will have a complete DCEU talk, and then we'll also talk about the overall shape of the DCU, maybe where they went wrong, maybe where we would have taken it if we were in charge, that type of thing. But yeah, every Thursday, guys, we'll have an episode of Free Pour. We break down a movie, just talk about it, give our opinion on it, kind of review, but a little bit more than that too. And we'll see you guys next week.